lost weight, and now I want to divorce my husband. All right. That's number one. It's a very long post. So be patient with me. Let's go through this. Let's see her perspective, what she's thinking about. All right. They've been married for 5 years and they've been together for 7 years. And they have 3-year-old child. After having the baby, I struggled a lot with losing the baby weight, adjusting to being a parent. I also had the baby blues at first, which was tough. I wasn't really focused on my appearance, and instead, I was trying to figure out a new routine and way of life. But then, my husband started making these little comments about my body and how I should start working out and wearing makeup again. Alright? It made me feel really awful, and I worried that he might start looking elsewhere because we weren't being intimate anymore. He even suggested hiring a nanny so I could have more time for myself. But I wanted to be there for our baby full time, so I turned down the offer. That made him angry, and he started acting cold towards me. I think I have an idea of where this is going, but I just want to go and stick with it. But let's be jumping and talking about these facts as they're coming out. The first thing is, generally, we know, we're not talking about the Hollywood standards or the standards we see on the internet or on social media. We are speaking of reality. Many ladies, when they just give birth to kids, they do put on a lot of weight or these extra meat. The tummy expanded. So this expansion is still there. It does not just go back. And it also will not go back without work. It also does not mean an individual should eventually, I think, it does not mean from a lady's perspective, you should get comfortable in that state. Because that's not what you were. It does not mean we are not saying you'll never go back to what you were. But when you look at many ladies after pregnancy, I don't see why as a lady who cares about your physical look and as well, even being healthy, you want to stay like that for long. You understand that it's necessary for that phase to be there. But once you're out of that phase, I think once you've gotten this child to maybe a year old and she's even out, no longer sucking, no longer breastfeeding, you start working on your body because you have a husband too, especially in a situation like this. Big ups to the man too, probably the manner in which he went about it in terms of giving comments. That's one thing to learn here. Many times, especially after birth, many of these women emotionally, they get ticked off. Their hormones and everything is acting up. So we ought to also still be very, very careful in terms of how you give comments at this phase. But does not mean you cannot automatically give certain kind of suggestions in a particular way. Probably the manner in which he went about it was not the best, but one can see that he was interested in taking whatever steps he can take on his own part, push his wife towards eventually taking care of her physical look, which is not a bad thing. Anyway, months went by without any hugs, kisses, romance, or any kind of affection. So sad. My self-esteem hit rock bottom. Every time I looked in the mirror, all I saw were the flaws that my husband pointed out. Exactly. That's exactly what I meant. I think he was going around this the wrong way. By this point, our son was already 2 years old, and I desperately wanted to win my husband back. Big ups. I thought that if I got in shape again, he would show me love and affection and our marriage would be safe. Big ups. I craved his attention so much and it hurt to see how much things had changed. But you can't force someone to be affectionate. I took matters into my own hands and hired some help. With more free time, I started going to the gym, taking swimming classes, which are amazing for your back, by the way. Okay. Getting my hair and lashes done regularly and eating healthier. All right. And guess what? I've lost a ton of weight and I feel amazing. Hell yeah. Suddenly, my husband started touching me, kissing me, buying me flowers, and treating me like the complete opposite of how he treated me before. You'd think that would make me feel better. For some reason, it made me feel worse. Let's stop here. If you've been watching these videos, the way I post them, or the ones I post, we had a similar situation. We've gone through a similar situation like this before, where this lady who got overweight before getting married to her husband, and while married to her husband, she grew more overweight. Eventually had a lot of issues when she started working out and the husband get more affectionate towards her. So, but the difference there was this. He, in that story, did not have this situation. Her husband, even while she was overweight, showed her love. But it was different when she lost all the weight. He just showed her more love and was more romantic to her and wanted sex much more. That automatically made her start thinking, oh, did he not love me while I was overweight? women. And in this situation, we see something similar where this lady, while overweight, receives no affection. And the reason she literally starts working out is because she wants to have affection. She works out, she loses this weight, and she gets the reward which she wanted, which was the affection of her husband. But now automatically she has gotten it and she's angry. Women. Anyway, let's go ahead. You think that will make me feel better, but for some reason it made me feel worse. All I could think about were the hurtful things he said to me when I was at my lowest and how cold he was towards me. I get that you can't force attraction, but why couldn't he just hug me or give me a kick on the cheek, even when I was overweight? Why couldn't he love me as a human being, the mother of his child? Yeah, why, bro? Why couldn't you? When my self-esteem came back, I got really angry at myself for putting up with his behavior for so long. A few days ago, I told him I wanted a divorce because I don't think I can move past how badly he treated me. He apologized and promised to change and prove that he can be better. But honestly, I'm not sure if I can trust him again. What if I gain weight again? I have to deal with the health issues. Will he treat me like garbage again? I've talked to some friends and family about the whole situation, and some say I should give him another chance, while others say I should leave him. So I'm turning here for advice. And this is the first thing I'll say, and I've said it several times. I'm saying this based on where I come from and the general values and the principles I choose to adapt just based on my religious perspective and also based on the observation of real life today. Many people give up so much in their marriages. People no longer look at marriage as a ride or die thing. In these days, for the slightest reasons, they want divorce. They want a divorce for the slightest reasons. I'm not trying to undermine the reason or whatever her motive for a divorce here is. But what I'm just generally saying is this. When you get into a relationship, worst of all, if you get into a marriage, I personally think the most important mindset to have is whatever we can do, whatever we can do to make it work, let us do that. In this situation, yes, I think she was wrong acting out this way for not showing her love, for not probably being empathetic towards the situation she found herself in. I personally think if he would have reacted to that differently, he probably would have encouraged her start taking care of herself much sooner. But in a situation like this, we see the man is apologetic for perspective he had and he's promising to change. And that's one thing in a relationship. We are here, not just in a relationship, even from a self perspective. The whole act of the human experience is growth. We grow. We analyze ourselves. We analyze the way we respond to various circumstances and we choose to respond better. And in a situation like this, he has acknowledged that he was wrong. And then eventually, he's choosing to want to change. I think rather than fear of an outcome which has not yet happened, you rather should be able to go into that situation and be like, all right, this is how you reacted in the past that made me so freaking angry. I was so angry about you reacting this way. And if this happens in the future, I really will not want that it should be the same reaction because it literally broke me. And I don't think I'll be able to come back from it. That's the need for understanding and forgiveness in a relationship. These are virtues, these are principles at the end of the day, which relationships today, they need them. If not, they will never survive. If not, they will never move past the feelings in which they are. So at the end of the day, I personally think in this situation, it's one way. Understanding is needed. Forgiveness is needed. Working on each other towards growth and having a different outcome the next time if a similar situation like this comes up. Rather than just looking for the door, exiting. Anyway, let's see what you guys have to say. I'll go to 2 comments. Dinky Dog says, this is the type of man who will leave you if you get cancer or a debilitating illness. His attraction determines his love and respect, which means neither is permanent or guaranteed. He's shown you that. Don't forget it. Well understood. And this will go towards the man, and not just towards the man, towards men. I find myself in this category many times. At the end of the day, there's much more to be attracted to than just the physical attraction. So sometimes it's necessary to be able to move past that. But it does not mean in a situation like this to get comfortable not looking physically attractive. Because it does not change the fact that many men are attracted to what we see. And you being attracted to what you see, you got to take health. I think it's wrong if you're attracted to what you see from a perspective from unrealistic standards, especially the standards which the media throws in front of your eyes. But there's the standard, especially being overweight. That's a standard which you, the individual, will not be comfortable in. You should always seek for your best in everything, whether it is professionally, family-oriented, health-wise. You will not want to be in a situation where you can easily get sick. think about it from that perspective and choose from that perspective to work on yourself. And to the man, at the end of the day, I personally think he's learned his lesson. If it happens again, all right, we could say, oh, so it happened the last time and you learned nothing from this. All right. So this is another situation that I'm not going to be able to take care of it. But I don't really think it's one way you should be able to move out of it though. Let's do one more. Taro says, yes, you are justified. I've had huge weight swings in my marriage and my husband never treated me like shit when I was heavier. Based on what he is going to change, based on what is he going to change? Saying you will is meaningless. Frankly, I wouldn't want to be with someone who treated strangers like that, let alone how will he treat your key if you know it. Anyway, I have nothing to say anymore. Drop your comments. What do you guys think? Is he justified? Is she justified for wanting to divorce this guy because of this? Did he act okay? Should divorce be the final solution? What do you guys think? Drop in the comments. Alright, like, subscribe, share the video. Big ups. Till next time.